Everybody? Today we're going to talk a little bit about Sato, Rikido Sato. He's a stunner. He has an ability twice per turn remove a card from your hand, so you have to remove it from the game. And your attack will gain stun 1, and then you can draw 1 card. And every time you add a card or you draw 1 or more cards during the enhanced step, you gain a damage as his response. So his first ability works with the second ability, and also if you can get a lot of draws early, it's going to do a lot of work for you. So the deck I decided to go with was an order deck. I put a lot of stunners in there, and then I don't know, guys. I think you're gonna like the deck. Let's just go through it really quickly, and we'll talk a lot about the strategies behind the deck. So here's Sticky Balls. He's one of your only slow reducers, and you can also basically destroy the opponent field, control his field when he's attacking. When you feel like he's going to be pushing really hard, you could just use this card to add the top card of his deck, or of his discard pile to the card pool. It's going to slow him down. It's going to make him not really want to check bad on his next attacks, because it's going to be even basically a breaker 1 or +1 check. So it's really good defensive option here. We have that. Think Fast. This is our offensive option. You just commit 1 card, and you will change the zone of the attack, and every time the zone of the attack changes, you gain +1/+1. With Rikido, we're giving a lot of damage to attacks, at least +1/+2 damage. So if we can get +3 damage and a speed, that's going to be really useful, because we already are stunning. So when we add speed, that's basically like a stun is basically like a speed, because you're going to commit to foundation, but it's just better because you committed before you defend. So it makes it's just so nice to have extra speed, and this Think Fast gives it to us. And also we have Gotcha as one of our targets of committing, and when we commit Gotcha, we don't just get the +1/+1, we get +2/+1. And with Rikido, he always gives out +1s to his damage. So yeah, we just get a +2/+2 attack very easily with Think Fast, with 1 committing. Heroic Lineage, I play 4 of this. It's my other only slower besides Sticky Ball. Sticky Ball is not really for slows, this is more for disruption, whereas Heroic Lineage, I really do use that for the slow. That's my only the real defensive option here. And the 2s, Passing the Torch is my last 2 off, 2 difficulty foundation. You need this. You can kind of wait till you have emptied your hand to use it, or you could just use it once per turn, and you could still give the +1 damage whenever you need it. It's still useful, activates Rikido's effect, and gains cards into your hand. Makes your character a 7-hander. That's never a bad idea. Tape is really good defensively. It's amazing, actually. If a mid attack flip, if it's mid, you -2 speed. If it's not mid, you make it mid, right? So if you're running maybe Walkling or something, that's really amazing. You can defend that very easily. Obviously, I don't have Walkling in order, but it's just really good defensive option. You can make any attack mid, and then you can guard it. Or if it's already in mid, you can slow it down. But usually, I really make my attacks into mid. That's what I use that for. We'll move on to Calling for Backup here. Calling for Backup is another card that lets you draw, so it's very useful in this deck. It gives you your power, and just gives you extra cycling options. Here we're moving on now. We have a bunch of zeros. Desperate Times at 4. A lot of the Rikido Satos now. There's a lot of Satos on the field, at least in my local, so we're going to want to use this. Every time he draws, we control him. Gotcha. This is obviously very helpful with Think Fast. It's very useful. And Think Fast is the only one that's going to commit it. And then Requesting Assistance. This is my last foundation. And this foundation is insane. If you have momentum, you just restand. Allows you to extend your plays. It's really good option to have. And yeah, I really like this setup here. It's pretty cheap. I can I'm usually a 7-hander, so you can just dish out a lot with your 7-hand. Let me go ahead and put this here. And we'll go with some attacks here. This is my attack lineup. We'll start with the 4s. We run 4 Electric Jolt. Electric Jolt is great. It's just an extra stun. And then it sits in the momentum and gives you an extra stun after it gets done. So it's insane. Here's my lineup. I'm still testing. So you guys tell me what you think. We have 2 setup strike and 2 heroic strike. I really believe setup strike is much better than heroic. Setup strike is a 3-5, 3 high for 5, and gives +3 speed to the next attack, and gives itself +3 speed if you have momentum, if you discard momentum. And then heroic strike is basically just the stun 1, because I don't really run a lot of punches. So just because of the stun 1, I think that's why heroic strike is worse. But basically, yeah, basically run 4 setup strikes. It's just so strong. It's so good. And then here's our 5s. Reciprocal burst. This guy's a stun 1. And then with Rikido, you give him another stun. And every time you stun, you draw with Rikido, you get damage. And then every time you stun, you get speed. It's insane. It's such a good combo. It just makes so much sense to have that deck. Here's another stun 1. It's just throw. It's guaranteed momentum. It's really not a bad option. Good damage. And you could start with this, get a stun 1. With Rikido, you get another stun. And then I believe if he doesn't block it, you stun 1 as well. If this attack is not blocked, commit 1 rival foundation. So that's a stun 3 potential right there with just 1 attack. And finally, obviously, indiscriminate shockwave is your best attack here. You can end games very easily with this attack. Once you stun your opponent with grasping tape toss into electric jolt, you could push maybe a setup strike into indiscriminate, or just go for an indiscriminate. If you push a setup strike into indiscriminate, it's almost guaranteed to hit. But if you don't, you just the indiscriminate is still pushing a lot of damage, and so it just makes a lot of sense. And it also commits. It stuns and then it commits another foundation, and then Rikido will stun 1. I mean, that's 3 stuns easily with indiscriminate shockwave. Guys, we do have extra options here that I did not add. You could maybe run a short circuit in this deck. Short circuit just does so much defensively. I just have no defense, basically. We also have natural leader here. Fulfilled my duty. I couldn't find it, but that's another option. Fulfilled my duty, just ends the enhanced step. These are all defensive options, really. And then for your attacks, I see a lot of players running reciprocal extend. So if you're running more kicks, you would utilize this a lot more. And then flying thrust or kick, it just makes so much sense to have this. Because you gain so much speed so easily on your kicks. And giving any kind of speed to this will give it the +2 damage. And a 6 high, for example, if you were able to give it 2 speed with the Think Fast and Gotcha, 6 high for like 6 or 7 or 8 damage is huge attacks. You know, late game, early game actually, it's hard for him to block it. And late game actually is going to give him a problem with all the stuns you have. So just extra options here. Let me know, guys, what do you think of this deck. Very interested in your opinion. If you like content like this, make sure you subscribe. I have a lot of deck ideas for you. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Peace.